Hello and welcome to the second episode of Mustard Education, where it's been another relatively tough week with a bit of resistance here and a bit of misunderstanding there, and generally feeling a bit like I'm pedalling backwards on a couple of occasions, but only a couple. Starting at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, we went straight into maths using the same app that I've been, basically brushing up my own skills with. I'm finding yet again that if I do a test on any of these things, I generally get the answers right, even if I don't really entirely understand how it works. But that's not good enough, because what I have to do is understand it properly enough to be able to teach it. But that actually really suits me, because though I've been going through the tests and we've been writing down the questions and then figuring out how to do it. The tests are all multiple choice. And the thing is, you can kind of have a good guess almost when you have a multiple choice. But if you get a pen and paper out and write down the question and go through it systematically, I'm finding we're getting much better results. One of the main ongoing subjects, of course, is cooking. So you don't just learn to cook once, you have to keep on doing it. More cooking. So this week they did a chili con carne and some bread. They're enjoying that, and they don't want me taking over. They want me to show them how to do it and then just do the rest of it themselves and do the washing up, which is quite a bonus. Geography this week. More the same kind of thing as last week. Just basically going on Wikipedia and reading out a whole load of things about a particular country, and then they can write down their own thoughts in their own ways, and they both did it very, very differently. So we talked about Japan and South Korea. North Korea. Next week it's going to be my choice, and I'm going to choose Great Britain, because there's a lot to talk about with Great Britain, and I think the better you understand your own country, the more you can possibly enjoy living in it. Well, that could be completely wrong. I am very keen on them eating properly, learning the whole mechanics of cooking and food, and what foods are good and what foods aren't good, and they're very, very interested in all this kind of thing. And with that, of course, it makes sense as best as possible to grow. So this week I have potted a couple of properly sprouting potatoes. I'm not even sure whether this is even the right time to actually bung them in the pot, but they're only going to get binned anyway, so I may as well try. Trying and finding out for yourself gives you a really deep understanding of how things work, more so than just theoretical. And that's kind of what most of this is about. And here I have a bag full of seeds. A bag full of seeds from all sorts of strawberries to tomatoes, cabbage, lettuce, sunflowers, etc. And all of these are out of date, but it's not going to stop me from planting them to see whether they grow anyway. Because on Friday we had a little trip out to the lake with my friend Johnny. Now Johnny is a botanist. He's very, very keen on sharing some of his knowledge, and he is a moss expert. That's not something many people are.
Oh.
It might have rabies, so...
It won't have rabies, don't worry about that.
Holingworth Lake is lower than I've ever seen it due to this incredibly dry summer that we've had. And it's left behind an awful lot of clay, really, really claggy, sticky clay that has the consistency of chocolate fudge cake. And growing on there is this stuff. Now, apparently, the spores for this would have been just living in the clay all of this time. And it just shows that stuff can lay dormant in the ground or in a packet, not just for a year or 2 years or 20 or 40 years, and still work when the right conditions arrive. So the idea of having a trip around the lake with Johnny was basically so that he could educate them on all of the things growing around, identifying trees, identifying different types of moss, flowers, etc. It was great. Spotted quite a few things, rusty things just left in the lake. A sunflower a sunflower's popped up out of nowhere, probably a seed dropped by a bird, and it's found itself a home where it could never have lived before.
Isn't it meant to be like back home?
Ladybug. Are we in America now?
Oh. Oh look, there's other ones. There's other tiny bugs in there.
Wilma getting herself she actually walked right into the lake and found herself absolutely caked in this mud.
Get home, we need to take her for a bath.
No. She needs to get clean before she gets in the car.
Have with when you go looking for mushrooms is like a dentist's mirror, so that you can.
So you can look underneath. Sorry, Johnny, didn't mean to interrupt you. Is that poisonous?
I can't even remember what it is. There's only a handful of deadly poisonous mushrooms in this country. And then it'll pop up a new little tree from its roots, and then like pop another one up. So you see all these are all come from that tree there.
I'm sorry, I don't really feel like I got a great deal of footage this week. Just a few clips of things that we're doing and this cat, and that's about it. It's kind of too busy actually doing it to make a video. But next week I'll try a bit harder and hopefully you'll see some really interesting results. So bye-bye, and thank you for your continual support in this educational dilemma that I've found myself in. The biggest obstacle really is that I'm just not getting time at work. So I promised myself that once 4 o'clock comes round, I could pop down to work here and get on and do a few jobs, but I tend to be losing motivation by this point and losing strength in my back. So I've got another idea that I need to pursue, which is all education loosely, I suppose. To deal with my back issue, I'm going to take on Tai Chi. Yep, Tai Chi.